on the paper, it looked like that I had everything figured out before I even become 30. But um, I didn't even know that something exists outside this logical path, and I call it a forest right now, the forest of creativity, the forest of grief, the forest that has magic, and I didn't know even that exists.
Ho, ho, ho!
Hey, Santa, before you get too carried away, we need to talk.
Yeah, because while you're up there with the cookies, moms are the ones making sure the magic actually happens.
And let's be honest, who does all the work and who gets all the credit?
This year, it's time for a little more for mom. We're hosting the More for Mom Summit, a free online event designed to help you ditch the stress and keep the joy of the season.
Think of it as your 4-day reset. Practical tools, heart-centered support, and a community of moms who get it.
Grab your free ticket at moreformomsummit.com because this year, mom gets to enjoy the magic too.
Ho, ho, ho. This episode is brought to you by the More for Mom Summit. You can get your free ticket at www.moreformomsummit.com. We'll see you there. Okay, welcome, ladies. We're very excited. We have the fabulous Kiana Haddadi. Is that how I pronounce your last name?
Yeah.
Yeah, Kiana Haddadi with us. We are really excited to host her on Your Mom Enough. She is going to be talking to us today about her journey through emotional abuse and isolation. She's a data scientist, an artist, and a storyteller, and she's on a mission to rebuild her life through creativity and joy. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, amazing. So this is an opportunity for you to share with our audience about yourself. Kiana is also going to be one of the speakers at our More for Mom Summit that we're really excited about. If you haven't had a chance to register, please go to moreformomsummit.com and you can grab your free ticket. And you can come and see Kiana's presentation there. But Kiana, maybe let's get started. You can share a little bit about yourself, anything you feel comfortable with, and you can take us back to what life looked like before your journey started.
I guess you pretty much explained my background very, very nicely. My name is Kiana. I'm a data scientist. Started my work 3 years ago. I came to Canada 6 years ago. And I feel like overall everything was really good for me when I moved to Canada. I was walking this logical path that everyone's followed, the linear path, just to go to the university, get degrees. I earned 3 engineering degrees,
Wow.
1 in Canada and 2 before I came to Canada. I lived across 3 continents.
Huh.
I got married and everything just happened before I turned 30. So on the paper, it looked like that I had everything figured out before I even become 30. But I didn't even know that something exists outside this logical path, and I call it a forest right now, the forest of creativity, the forest of grief, the forest that has magic, and I didn't know even that exists. So for me, I think my life changed when I realized that I don't want to survive anymore, and I just want to be free. And that's when I started to walk outside that linear logical path, and I stepped into the forest. And I think that that's truly when my life began after that.
I think that's so powerful. I have a similar story without all the continents. I was married very young to the wrong person. And what I found in my life, maybe this will resonate with you, maybe not, but I felt like I was checking off all the boxes of things that you're supposed to do. And I kept like putting my happiness at a later date. I was like, oh, if I go to college, I'll be happy. If I get married, I'll be happy. If I buy a house, I'll be happy. And I did all of the things and I was not happy. And I too had to step into the forest of uncertainty, which is scary and overwhelming. But all of the best things have come from my willingness to do that. Would you say that's true for you too?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like the forest is full of uncertainty. It's not linear. You cannot predict where you will end up. But then at the same time, you feel so free inside that, and you feel so alive. And I think that's a very good journey to walk.
So, what would you say are some of the challenges or struggles that you were facing that made you feel compelled to step into the forest of uncertainty?
I feel like at that time, I was deeply entangled in a life that looked absolutely perfect and successful on the outside, as I mentioned, but increasingly devastating and disorienting on the inside.
Mm,
And I feel like I stopped listening to myself and I ignored all my inner voices. I even doubt all my desires, second guess even my memories. I was second guessing them, and I was not in a very good position. Yeah, I feel like my life was really like a gray day in a rainy day.
mm,
um, but then I felt like that. No, I felt like that I'm like a guest in my life and like a ghost in my body. And even the business that I helped co-create didn't carry my name. Um, so yeah, it was very. That was my life basically. The
mm,
challenges that I was facing. I feel like there was no space for softness or tenderness, no space for curiosity. I felt like that everything needs to be justified, everything needs to be earned, and it just drifted myself from my true self, and until my body just gave me some signals that this is not okay.
mm. So, I'm just want to say that I'm proud of you for recognizing the signals because I have also had those kind of signals. And for me, it's like I ignored for a long time and like excused and ignored and excused. Um, in my particular case, I won't make assumptions about you and your life. You're welcome to share whatever you want to or not. But in my particular case, there was absolutely emotional abuse and that type of thing. Um, and it's subtle on the inside of a relationship like that. It's not visible on the outside. And so it's hard to even recognize for yourself when things like that are happening. Um, and in my particular case, things had to get really bad before I was able to recognize it and do something for myself. Does that sound like it was true for you too?
Yeah, exactly. I feel like for me the abuse was there, but I kept telling myself that that's okay. I can push through that. I can fix everything myself. So
Mm,
I used to carry the weight of everything alone,
mm,
but then suddenly I just couldn't carry the weight anymore, and things, as you mentioned, got pretty bad. Yeah.
mm, mm. So, what would you say made you decide that it was worth it to take the risk and change and step into the forest?
So there, I have a memory. There was a moment that I realized I had this image in my head that I'm standing at the edge of an abyss, a very dark abyss. It was a turning point for me in when I had that image, and I just noticed that I have only two choices left: is to just disappear and don't face the pain, or face the pain head on and choose life.
Mm,
And I feel like at that moment there was like a voice, a fierce voice inside me, maybe even the last spark of my soul that told me it's not okay and we need to fight it and we need to choose life.
mm,
And I think that was just a turning point for me to choose myself And at that moment, I just decided that if I'm going to rebuild my life, I want it to be based on truth and honesty and not fear. I'm just so tired of living with fear, and I just wanted to be very honest and just be very true to my soul. And yeah, I guess life gave me a second chance, and I'm just
Got it.
following that.
Yeah. Amazing. Okay. So, what would you say has been the biggest change for you since you started all of this? Emotionally, creatively, or in how you see yourself as a woman? What do you feel like has been the biggest change?
Hmm. That's such a good question because I feel like everything just changed. There was a moment that I decided to burn all the old patterns that I had inside, like the patterns of guilt, shame, perfectionism,
Mm,
survival. And it just felt like that I created a new self that doesn't operate on those patterns. And I feel like since then, everything just changed. I think I began discovering my emotions slowly.
mm,
One after another, I discovered my rage, sensitivity, curiosity, one after another, and then I think I'm not a biological mother, but I'm not a biological mother, but I met someone very precious along the way in this journey.
mm,
It was my inner child, and she was very scared when I started to see her. She was like hugging her knees at the corner of a room.
mm,
But then one day I crocheted a plushie and I just offered that as a gift to her. And she flinched in the beginning, but slowly I feel like she trusted me more. And I think since then, my life was so much better. It has more creativity, more softness in it. We even started a plushie business. We call it Boo Boo Bee. I think it's just a tribute to all children and also the child inside of
mm.
everyone. And yeah,
That's
that's
amazing.
everything that changed.
That's amazing. I think it's did you find like as things started to shift and as you felt more comfortable um, with your emotions and your feelings, that it almost feels like you come alive again in a way that you weren't expecting was going to be possible?
Yeah, exactly. It just feels like there is a fire inside that wasn't there before. And
Yeah.
sometimes it just in the beginning, I when I was discovering my emotions, it felt disorienting, and I thought there is something wrong with me because I felt like that my emotions are too intense.
Mm,
But I slowly started to trust them and embrace them, and told myself that that's okay,
mm,
and we should meet those emotions. And yeah, absolutely, it feels like fire, and life is back to the body, because as I mentioned before, I think I was just feeling like a ghost in my body, but now I feel more grounded, and I listen to signals that my body sends more, including resting. I think I was very restless. I wouldn't rest, but now I treat myself to a spas or different beautiful things and rest when I need to. So I definitely feel that I'm more grounded in my body.
Today's word of the day is love.
I think that's so powerful, especially like I think this is true of all women. There is kind of a guilt that comes with rest, and it's silly. Like, you wouldn't shame someone who said, "I'm thirsty and I need water," but it feels shameful to say, like, "I'm tired and I need sleep,"
Mhm.
and it's so silly. Um, I will say that for my life, one of one of the joys of my life is that the closer I've got to understanding my emotions and learning about boundaries, the better the relationships, friendships,
Mhm.
my significant other have become. And I have this conversation with one of my girlfriends, this idea of guilt-free rest. It's the most like incredible thing. And to have the ability to take guilt-free rest, not only like guilt externally, but guilt for yourself, I just think is so empowering, you know?
Uh, exactly. As you said, I'm not sure where this inner voice comes from that judges you whatever you want to do.
Mhm.
It was very difficult for me to identify that I have this inner voice in me that doesn't allow me to rest. And
Yeah.
it also demands perfectionism in everything and pushing through burnout. But yeah, I think therapy helped a lot to
Oh,
identify this voice and try to.
yeah. I'm a huge advocate for therapy too. It's so helpful because I think and you don't have to agree, but for me, it was hard to hear even positive things from friends or like feedback from friends because I would always think they love me. They have to say that. You know what I mean? So it was almost hard to even hear the positive things. But from a therapist, they're a totally neutral third party. They're getting paid either way. And it's just helpful to have that reflection back. And I'm appreciative of you for sharing that therapy is something that you engaged with. I talk about it as often as I can, especially
Uh-huh.
in venues where I know other women are listening because I feel like there should not be shame associated to
Uh-huh.
participating in therapy, and it's had a huge impact on my life in a positive way for sure.
Yeah, I feel like there are different types of therapy, so it's
Mm.
important to find what works best for you.
Mm.
For me, somatic therapy really helped in order to ground myself and understand breathing. And even noticing that I'm running through panic attacks. I didn't even know that I'm experiencing panic attacks and I'm ignoring them and running through them, like pushing through them. So definitely somatic therapy really helps with the body signals and
Mm.
understanding cues when you're tired and everything. So I'm also a very advocate. I'm advocating for that as well.
Yeah. I have been doing probably like talk therapy, but also a process called EMDR. Have you heard of that?
No.
It's interesting. It's a process that allows you to access your subconscious. So it's not like you don't have to talk through a whole story or something like that. It allows you to access your subconscious and kind of resolve things that are under the surface that are bothering you that you can't like.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an overthinker. I think somatic therapy would probably be really beneficial for me too because I'm like 100% here in my mind. And but so in order to access my subconscious, very difficult because I'm just thinking all the time, like consciously focused. But it's been really powerful. I'm gonna look at somatic therapy. I think it could be helpful too.
Yeah, another thing that helped is IFS therapy for me. As you mentioned, I think this type of therapy are all like work hand in hand in order to access subconscious because there are a lot of patterns that are hidden in our subconscious and
Mm.
subconscious is also linked to body. But I think I also IFS therapy, internal family system, was
Yes.
really helpful for me too to identify my inner child and talk to her and
Yeah. Yeah. Super powerful. Amazing. Well, if you could give advice to a woman who's standing where you once stood, standing at the abyss and feeling invisible, what would you say to her?
I feel like women, especially mothers, are always very busy and overwhelmed with tasks, running through life. And I feel like it's gonna be useful if we have just 5 minutes per day for ourselves. Like
Mm.
even if we are in the bathroom with the door locked, or even we just stay in the car in a bit longer, and just ask ourselves, what can we do today that no one else can do for us?
Mm.
And I think that really helps to identify what we really need and listen to ourselves without shame. I think that's the turning point. And eventually, if you start listening to yourself, you don't need to act on it. You just need to name it out loud that you need and that you have needs and desires without shame. And eventually you repeat it the next day and the day after that. And eventually it's going to be a doorway to a new life for you. And just have that 5 minutes for you, like your life depends on it, because it'll eventually will.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I think too that if you're feeling like a ghost in your body, stepping into the forest is worth it. It's scary, but it's so worth it, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And everyone's forest is different.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And where can people connect with you if they want to and learn more about you?
So there is my Instagram page for my plushie business, Booboopy Craft,
Okay.
booboopy.craft, and also they can find me on LinkedIn, Kiana Haddadi. I will be happy to connect with people and talk more about their experience.
Amazing. All right. Well, Kiana, thank you so much for sharing your heart with us today. Your story is a reminder that even in the ashes, there's always potential for light. And reclaiming your fire doesn't have to mean burning everything down. You can become your own warmth again. So we're really proud to have you with us
Thank you
for
for having
this
me.
episode. Yeah, you're most welcome. We're excited for your share for the More for Mom Summit. And yeah, is there anything else you want to share before we go?
No, thank you so much
Yeah.
for having me, Shana, and thank you for providing this space for women to share their experience with everyone.
Thank you. We're really excited about it. Okay. Well, if you love this conversation, you definitely want to catch Kiana's full presentation inside the More for Mom Summit. It is the holiday edition, which will be happening November 12th through 14th. It's a free online summit filled with inspiring voices just like Kiana's, helping moms move from survival to sovereignty. Her session is called Reclaiming the Fire, a Woman's Journey from Survival to Sovereignty, and it's one you don't want to miss. So make sure you get your free ticket. Go to moreformom.com. Oh, wait, moreformomsummit.com and grab your free ticket now. Yeah? Amazing.
Okay, great. Thank you, Shana.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.
The holidays magical. The food, the friends,
Yeah, hey Dave, before you start selling us on the joy of the season, me and the moms, we're taking a break.
Because let's be honest, if you're dreading instead of dreaming about the holidays, you're not alone.
And this year, it's time to do something more for mom before things get into the full swing.
The More for Mom Summit is your reset to swap stress for sanity and pressure for peace.
Join us free at moreformomsummit.com and make this a season you actually enjoy.